Hi everyone, it is Shay Seeking, and this is Not Your Mama's Bible Study, um, combined with a little bit of his storyline. Um, because you guys know that on this channel, I'm usually taking the Bible and writing, trying to figure out what it is that I feel like I think I might see when it comes to um, his story or the antiquities of the America, meaning something more like the old world, Old Testament, New World, New Testament. So we're not saying basically what it is, what it ain't. We're just saying what it looked like on this channel. So anybody that is a religious of any sorts may not feel too comfortable with the way that we're trying to bring things forward or break things down. So in that case, you might want to go ahead and vacate the video right now, because what I'd like to say is, this is not your mama's Bible study, and I'm not here to make anyone comfortable, because we are at a time in our in the history. I mean, we are at a time, I feel like, in this so-called world or life where truth is being revealed, right? Truth is going to come from all different types of people, from all walks of life, from all different things. Things are going to be revealed that might have been there all along, right? So, um, I do want to let you guys know that I'm not a Christian. I don't go to church, but I do read the word a lot. I read a lot of the history. I think once I started to dig really heavily into the um, fact that most so called Afro Americans or Negroes um, may and are not, in my opinion, from Africa, that the transatlantic slave trade was somewhat fabricated. Okay, I've never. So, and people like to say, why am I saying that it didn't happen? I'm not telling you that it didn't happen. I'm just telling you I think it was fabricated from the alternative information that I have been reading for the past couple of years. Okay, and I'd like to further, I feel like we're here. A lot of us that are out bringing truth are feel like we're here to break generational curses, okay? And that includes ones or bringing truth when it comes to the so-called God that they want you to worship, and Jesus, same thing. So, I'm not knocking anybody that does those things or whatever, but we're looking for a tangible, realistic approach at looking at the word, because a lot of these things correlate or are very similar to things that have happened in the past. So, even if we're not saying that it is those things, we're saying, has anyone taken a closer look to say, well, damn, this sounds a lot like this? Okay. So I've been having a horrible week. I'll just let you know when it comes to this computer. There's something on the thing. I tried to get on the phone with Apple and stuff finally. I got on the phone with the Geek Squad to see if they can kind of maybe do something real quick to let me, you know, find this thing and remove it. It didn't happen. So in order for me to get it off, I'm probably going to have to take it to them and spend $100 to get it off. But again, you guys know my favorite search engine is Google. And for some reason, Bing has hijacked my search bar. So whenever I think I'm going in, even if I'm allowed to see Google, once I go into it, it redirects me and loops me right back around to search Baron or whatever, whoever that is, and and the stupid Bing. So it's brought me back, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I've been kind of thrown off my square, for a couple days, but I'm back now, and I think I have something. And this is another thing that happened. I had at least 6 hours worth of videos, some 20, 45 minutes, an hour, and 30 minutes. And in order for me to try to get this thing off of the computer, I decided to just I didn't have time to save them or anything when I was on the phone. So I decided to just let all that work go, and I don't even know what was on there. I know there was a bunch of part twos. Um, I, I don't know, but we're just going to go ahead and start over fresh. Okay. So anyhow, like I said, Google has been acting up. I've been sorting through some of my books um, in my workspace, and I ended up flipping through this book. It's falling apart and everything. Um, oh, excuse me. Can't believe it's already 1 o'clock. Okay, so it's falling apart. I think it was written back in 1857, and it has something, And then while I was looking through the book, what is it called? Let's just give you a. It's falling apart, like it's in bad shape, and that's not necessarily how I like them, but if they're old enough, that's how it tends to be. Okay, so what is the book called? Okay, it's called The Pictorial. I'm trying to get back to the first page. Make sure we get the whole thing in there. Okay, it is called The Pictorial History of the United States. John Frost. Illustrations by W. Either Groom or Chrome. Okay, and it says Volume 1. The Pictorial History of the United States of America from the discovery by the Northmen in 10th century to the present time. Okay. It says embellished with 400 engravings from original drawings by W. Chrome. I guess that is what the name is. Okay. Printed and published by Case, Tiffany and Company. Whatever, 1850. Okay. So I'm going to try to put this back gently because it is falling apart. So I might figure out some kind of way to tape it up, but the binding is like all the way through. So I'm sorry. Okay, I've held you guys long enough. So I was looking through here, and then I was looking through that Bicentennial Bible. And it just seems like, okay, I had done some stuff on, and I'm hoping that's the video that I ended up saving last night before I went to bed. But I was doing some stuff on the Book of Judges, and having to do with a war that was going on that sounded very similar to either the American War or the Revolutionary War. And I was trying to line up some stuff. It didn't work too well. I know you guys know that I did a video a while back, maybe a couple weeks back, and I was saying something about I didn't want to speak too soon about John Adams, because it was just funny how his story kind of resembled, if you can kind of see it, some stuff was standing out, and it was bringing, okay, we'll just say that. When I was reading his story, it was bringing me back to Genesis, and more so around the time we were talking about Adam, right? And then I'm like, they couldn't just be this silly. Like, they couldn't just be that crazy to go ahead and just use Adam for it. But there was John Adams, and then I think John Quincy Adams is his son. That was the president maybe 4 or 6. I've seen this picture because, like I tell you guys all the time, I'm a very visual person. Okay? So when I see these trees, branches and stuff, and like I always tell you too, that I think that symbolism runs the world or rules the world. And sometimes even when we're talking about the Tower of Babel, because you guys know that I've been doing some stuff on that too, it what does it do? It just makes me think, are we talking about, like, even if we did split languages, okay? What if, in a sense, we could be talking about using different type of ways to communicate, okay, that they can split the language, meaning that now, if they're trying to make a tower up to God, then maybe the government has to change the way that they do things so that it can be like a secret thing, remind you of secret societies and things like this. Now, we could very much well be talking about mixing up the voices, but I highly doubt that. I just highly doubt it. There is a possibility that at one point in time, all the people spoke one language on this plane. And then due to the fact that other people were coming in abundantly, mixing languages and stuff at that point, could we also be talking about something like that? Where now they said, okay, now you go multiply, you go multiply. And I already told you what I feel like we're talking about when we're talking about multiply. That just means in flooding, and let the waters bring forth creatures that are like them, and so on and so forth. I think we're talking about foreigners or foreigners, immigrants, migrant workers, whatever you want to say. Like, because even if we can think about it today, we're talking about not slavery or whatever, but people getting less wages and still working hard, migrant workers, to till the ground. And at some point in time, we were told that those people were other people, but I digress. We're here today to speak about this image. So when I saw this image, first of all, since I like old ornate stuff like this, the picture frame is gorgeous, and I could just imagine it like if it was real and in color. But besides the point, I noticed these branches here, and I think that these branches represent like branches coming from trees, and trees drop fruit, and fruit might be representing people, and all kind of wild fruit and things coming forth. I also see something hanging here from this sword. I wish I could see it a little bit better. But then also I see like something that looks like an arrow, that maybe they're representing signage of this Constitution. And then, it brought me to thinking about the pen is mightier than the sword. And then I went back to go look and see who was fighting with, when I was looking in Judges and I was looking at that war, they were making reference to the swords in the word. And then if you go back, they were making reference to the swords when it came down to that war. Whichever one we're talking about, it was late at night. So I think hopefully that video didn't get deleted, but if it did, I know a tiny portion that was like 20 minutes long didn't get deleted, but I'm pretty sure the big chunk did. If so, I'll do it over. But yeah, so that's not even the lot of it. So we go up here, and then all this flourish and like these floral like flourishes and stuff like that. Also remind me of the creeping thing. I don't know. It just says a little bit different to me when I'm looking at it. And then we have this fowl right here. And whenever I think about the fowl of the air, oh, matter of fact, I did a couple of videos. Matter of fact, that must have got deleted. But anyhow, when we're talking about that fowl of the air, I don't know why it is whenever the president is talking and he has that eagle behind him. When he was talking, I think in one of those speeches that he was doing about the Clintons, and he had the big metal or brass eagle that he was using as like the podium. And then I noticed that the flag is kind of just like hanging off here, mainly on this side. And then there's something else over here on this side. But when I see this file, this brings me back to Genesis 1 and 2. Okay. When I see these two cherubim, is what I'm just going to call them today, that reminds me of maybe 3. And then I noticed that she has a sword, or he, whatever they may be, and this one has a flame. So I'm just guessing if they were doing images like this back then, and maybe even this reminds me of like a wave or something. I'm not sure because I can't really see it that good. And I don't want to open up the book again, but this kind of reminds me of some kind of like a wave or something. But I'm just going to go ahead and read a couple scriptures to you guys to see, so you can see kind of like where I'm coming from. And then we're going to read just a 5-page thing of what it's talking about in this book, in this portion of the book. And, we're just going to see if we can find something. I read like the first page and I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just do it on camera before I start getting too tired. So, let's see. I tried to make some notes. So we're going to go ahead and go to Genesis 1 and 20. And then I'm going to read what it says there. So it says, and God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and the fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament. Okay. Of heaven. Okay. And then when I told you guys that if a firmament is just like the foundation or that structure, or we could go back into the term. I can never really pick a good couple of words to choose to explain the firmament. Okay. But I think that I've described it so many times that the firmament could just be like the establishment. Okay. Uh, Putting your stake in the ground and then expanding. It has to do with expansion and, you know, uh, not grounding, but goodness. Mm. Okay, we'll just come back to it. Okay. Um, and then of heaven, again, heaven can just mean the house of God. Okay. And if we think about that fowl, it's been flying high for a long time. All the time when you even hear the president speak, it's there. Okay. Um, I don't know. I don't know. It represents something more to me. I don't know why. Okay. And it's always, and now we see that it's flying above this dude here. Okay. Symbolically. Okay. And then it says, let's see, and God created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the water brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. Okay. And they said, be fruitful and multiply and fill the waters of the sea, and let the fowl multiply on the earth. Okay. And then again, when we go back, I don't think I put this, um, I don't think I put it as a note, but then that brings me over to even thinking about the fact that um, the part about upon thy belly thou shalt go and eat of the dirt, you know, for the rest of your life or whatever, because you were pulled out of it, you'll go back to it, whatnot. Okay. So, okay. So we're going to go ahead and go into the actual reading. And let's see if this is it. Okay, so this is just, you know, maybe this is just more, might give us a little bit more information, instead of kind of like the storybook portion of things that these people did that they put in your his storybooks. Okay, this might give us a little bit more. Okay, in a smaller pocket of information. Okay, so then J.Q. Adams, again, here we go with the flourishing, okay, going on all around. And again, it kind of reminds me of that shell thing, of that painting that uh shoot, the artist from antiquities did with the, I don't know if it was Michelangelo. I don't know. I'll just be quiet and you guys can probably know and be telling me what you know, but I'm just not gonna go looking for it right now. Um, excuse me. When he's in, but well, I think it's a brain or something though, but I don't know. Just the flourishing, um, alone speaks to me in a different way. Okay, and then now you have this vine wrapping around, you know, the eye. Okay, so it's John Quincy Adams administration. In his inaugural address, the new president stated his intention of pursuing the course which had been marked out by his predecessor, um, or predecessor. Um, pred, pre. Okay. I would like to break that word down. Okay. He observed that 10 years of peace, okay, 10 years of peace, at home and abroad had assuaged the animosity of political uh, content, wait, contention, okay, and blended into harmony the most discordant element of public opinion. Okay, there still remains, he continued, one effort of magnet. I'm not used to reading these words, y'all. So, magnanimity, one sacrifice of prejudice and passion, Okay. Now, I would like to know what this word means because to be honest with you guys, I really have never heard of it. So I'm just gonna jot it down real quick. Okay, and then we see one sacrifice of prejudice. Now, and passion. That I don't know. To me, that also is bringing me back to the acts that happened in Genesis. I think in 3, when it came to the woman, the husband, and the serpent. Okay, to be made by the individuals through the nations. Okay, who have heretofore, I guess, followed the standard of political party. It is that of discarding every remnant, okay? It is that of discarding every remnant of rancor against each other, okay? It is that of discarding every remnant of, I've never heard that word either, okay, against each other, okay? And then again, it also is speaking to me again and bringing me back to Genesis that, enmity was going to be between, so I don't know. You would have to probably read the read the scripture and then read this, and then you can kind of see where I'm headed with it, okay? It is that of discarding every remnant of rancor against each other, of embracing as countrymen and friends, okay? um, and of yielding to talents and virtue alone. And then here we go with that yielding again. It's kind of like the same type of language almost that they're basically kind of using in the Bible. So I'm just thinking like, okay, if the Bible was like 5,000 years old or way older than what I'm saying, then were they, we're using yielding in this word, and we're also using yielding at this point of time, which again, people are just now started really getting into the Bible, like family oriented, maybe in the early 1900s, because you didn't even get the Bible. Families didn't even get the Bible like that until the early 1900s, maybe late 1800s. Okay, so by that time, and then by the time now we're all up in it looking at it like this, there's no one around to tell you how, you know what I'm saying, unless we find these old books like this, and then it kind of starts spilling the beans a little bit. Okay. There's no like professional way for me to say this to you or show it to you. Okay. So it says, and yielding to talents and virtue alone, that confidence which in times of contention for principle was bestowed only upon those who bore the badge of party communion. Again, regular everyday people reading this stuff is not even really going to understand. It kind of like remind me of reading the Bible. I would have to go back and look at what badge meant. You know, I know that at some point in the Bible, I think it said all the, uh, or maybe it might be history. I might be getting them crossed, but I think at some point in history, all the Jews were supposed to wear some type of badge or something. I think this might be history. Okay. And then it started making me think about all the guys that, like, not Plecker, but what's the big burly dude with the beard and stuff? Uh, mm, I can't remember, but you know what I'm talking about. They have like all those badges in like one line going across the chest, and they have like the Knights of Malta like cross thing, sunbursty kind of looking thing, and so on. So, uh, let's see. Okay, so the principal events of the first 2 years of Adams's of Adams's uh administration. Mm-hmm. Um admin administration. Oh, kind of remind me of ministrate. Administration. Um, then minister. I don't know. These are just all relevant words that I'm just looking at that just relate to this thing called administration. And I will go back into that and look at more about what that really means. Are the treaties concluded by the government or God, government, with the Indians? Okay. We don't say Native Americans. It don't say, in general terms, it just says Indians, okay, with a capital I, okay. Um, yeah. So it says the first was with the tribe of Creeks, okay. By this treaty, the Creeks ceded all the land. Now, let's stop right there. Okay, so let's go right back right there. Now we're going to take it slow or slower. The first was with the tribe of Creeks by this treaty. Would we go and look at the history or the story of the Creeks, okay? And then we look at the story, the biblical form, what do you see? You know what I'm saying? Okay, if we're talking about the first day, the fifth day, and the seventh day, in the sense of the years 1500 and 1700 and so forth, then what was going on with the Creeks in that time? And does it match up what was going on in biblically in the Bible? Okay. And again, we're not here to indoctrinate anyone. We're just trying to let free thinkers see something in a way so that maybe we can all pull together and throw little things out there so that we can see something if this book is trying to tell us something. Okay. So when I think about the Creeks, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that these are some of the people that they use as scouts or as spies as well. Okay. So there's no good reason really for any tribes, if they were doing what they said they were doing to the people, to sign any treaties. We're going to go ahead and maybe one day look at this treaty. Okay. Okay. We're probably going to go ahead and look at these treaties or whatever to see what was really going on. Okay. But, I digress. Okay. The Creeks ceded all the lands. Now they ceded. Now the Creeks ceded all of the land. Again, what did we say that the land was? The land is the excuse me. The land, earth, and soil can be talking about inhabitants or people when we look at the concordance and when we look at the definition and etymology of the word, okay? So, if the Creeks came in and ceded all the land, I don't know what exact land they talking about. I guess maybe we can see it when we go back to the treaty. But again, are these foreigners too? Foreign entities that have now went in and ceded or went in with, lay with, or were with some of the women that might have been left over from the men being taken and stolen and sent into slavery to South America and other places. And what are we really talking about here? Okay. Now let's see. Lying within the boundaries of the state of Georgia. So, okay, so it's telling us. I'm speaking too soon. So the first was with the tribe of the Creeks. By this treaty, the Creeks ceded all the lands, lying. And again, lying or laying with, we use this term in the Bible too and we think we're talking about other things, but okay. So lying within the boundaries of the state of Georgia. Okay, so they ceded this area within Georgia. Okay, and it says occupied by them within certain described boundaries. Okay, the United States obligated. Okay, let's see where else we can go with this. 99. Okay, that was 99. Wait, I should have just got rid of it. Okay, so this one is going to be, I'll put that one to the back. This one is going to be 200. Okay, so Now we're going a little bit further. Okay. So Indian treaties. Okay. Uh, okay. So this says Indian treaties. We're on page 200, and it says themselves to go. Okay. Wait a minute. The government had whatever themselves to go in exchange for the land thus acquired. Okay. To give them something to give in exchange for the lands thus acquired, the like quantity, acre for acre, westward of the Mississippi. Okay. Okay. I think we need to go back. I'm sorry. So I'm glad we didn't close it. Okay. The United States obligated themselves, okay, to give. Now, didn't the Lord God, do you see where I'm going with this? Didn't the Lord God promise some people some land, but first he had to clear it, okay? But something happened. What happened when they ceded that land of Georgia? Okay? I'm trying to think, did they take it from the originals, cede it, and then go ahead and now leave it behind or pass it over to someone else? Like, I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm just a seer and a seeker. Sometimes I can't even put it all together. I will just let you guys, and I will emphasize on the parts that I can. Okay, and sometimes it comes to me later. Okay, so obligated themselves to give in exchange for the lands thus acquired, ceded. Okay, so the natives took it from the originals maybe, and since they had it now, they were giving it over to the government. Okay, the like quantity, acre for acre, westward of the Mississippi. So I'm guessing that the Creek wanted to go ahead and take the land west of the Mississippi. So this also draws me into the book. I don't know where we can go with this now. Maybe we can look later, or maybe some of you guys already know. I'm trying to find that story in the book where I guess the Israelites or whatever were already in tents, and then God told them to go up and move them west of the Nile, the river Nile, and something. I can't even remember exactly what storyline. I'm trying to go back into the book and find it a while back so that I could put it in a video, but I can't remember exactly which one it is. I can't get the words west and of the Nile together. Like here we got west of the Mississippi, but I know it's there. Okay. So, okay. And on the Arkansas River. Okay. So that's the first time I'm hearing about westward of the no, I've heard of west of the Mississippi. But I didn't know it was on the Arkansas River. Okay. Other stipulations favorable to the equitable claims of the immigrant. Okay, here we go with the immigrant or immigrating, immigrating parties. Okay, so an immigrant. What is an immigrant? I think that's when you're packing up your stuff and you're moving from a place for good. If it's not for good, it's still same thing, leaving one place to go and preside in another for a while, or something around to that manner. Okay, so were made particularly that a deputation. Okay, a deputation. And to be honest with you, I don't know what that means. Okay, from the Indians might be sent to explore the territories offered them in exchange. Okay, so they wanted to go and look at the place first. Okay, kind of like when I get a hotel room, sometimes I like to look at the room first, before I go ahead and bring my stuff in. Okay, I'm just trying my best, y'all. Okay, so from the Indians, okay, might be sent to explore the territory. Now, ain't this remind you of a story I'm not saying it's the exact story, but don't it remind you of something out of the Bible? How somebody sent them out to go and look or spy or look over the land first and then come back, okay, to see if it was okay, fit, and how everything was going there. So exploited territories offered them in exchange, and if the same should not be acceptable to them, they might select other territory west of the Mississippi on red Canadian, Arkansas, or Missouri River. And I don't know why Canada always reminds me of Canaan. I don't know. That's just, I don't know. It just always stands out to me like that's what we're really talking about, but I don't know. I don't know. Um, okay. And we were talking about that whole part of that Missouri River the other day in that other map. So I don't know. Okay. So the territory occupied by the Cherokee and Choctaw accepted. Okay. Um, and if the territory to be selected should be in the occupancy of other Indian tribes, then the United States were to extinguish the title of such occupants for the benefit of such immigrants. So again, where are we? Are we in Isaiah? I can't. I'm thinking Isaiah, Matthew. Even thinking about Exodus. I'm thinking about a whole bunch of different books where this was happening. God said, "Don't go yet. I'm making a place for you. I got to get rid of or kill or slew." Okay, the government. We just gonna put them together because that's just how we do here. And then we're gonna be able to move you in. So what true Indians would be okay with the government telling them that, oh, now this is not like even a forced thing. Like, I have your family, I'm going to kill them if you don't go over here and do this. No, they're saying, hey, okay, if you want me to do something, okay, I'll go over here and seed this land. But after I seed this land, I want to do this. Okay, but if we're going to let you get that land, then we're going to have to let you know that if you don't like that land and you want the land that your brothers is on, or some, hey, they could, like I said, even if they're natives, they still had to come through a line or mix with a people, okay? So, in other words, if you don't like that land, you could come back here and we just kill off either by law, by changing the names of and getting rid of the rights of those people, of those nations, okay? Or literally, okay? So, we're to extinguish the title of such occupants for the benefit of said immigrants. Again, so the Indian tribes must have been regular people, the originals, and then the immigrants were someone that came in and wanted it. The King, 2 o'clock, y'all, give me a break. The Kansas tribe of Indians also made a treaty. Okay, so we will have to go and see who are the Kansas tribes. Okay, also made a treaty ceding all their land. Okay, part of which were within and part without the limits of Missouri, excepting a small reservation on the Kansas River, 30 miles square, including their village. For these lands, the United States were to pay them $3,500 yearly for 2 years, okay, to provide for their education and civilization. Again, what are we really talking about? Their education and civilization. Okay, and then even if this reminds me back of one of those images that I saw a while back, where it was like a so-called a so-called black man dressed as an Indian. So we know who we were probably really talking about. He was probably an Indian, and I think there was a white man in a school, and he was begging for some kind of education or something. And then the white man, the so-called white man, was smiting him, basically, I think hitting him with something or trying to get him out, saying that this is not what's going to happen anymore. Okay, basically. Okay, so what does it say? Okay, for their education and civilization. So while one person uh, race was actually maybe dying physically and by law, somebody else was becoming a civilian or coming a what does it say? Um, y'all know what I'm about to say. That little box you got to check. So, are you a citizen? Okay, and to furnish them with a specified quantity of agricultural stock. Okay, now we can be talking about two different things. We could be talking about something that they can grow or do. Okay, um, furnish them with specify. Now, but you're furnishing something. I just think they would use different terms. I don't know. Could be or not. If we were talking about just some vegetables and stuff, and why would they need that from them when they already know how to do whatever they needed to do? Okay, with the specified quantity of agricultural stock, because when we start talking about stock, then I think about the stock market, the stock when we're talking about slaves, and also things like that too. Because then if okay, let's just go ahead and say this: if they were native and not the original, and they were migrating to the place, they would not know how to do anything. There would not be a man to till the ground. Actually, and this is where we're gonna go right here when you go into chapter 2. There was not a man. Okay, and every plant of the field before it was in the earth. Okay, so wouldn't this be before whatever was in the earth? Um, and it said, and the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth. Okay. So he hadn't established a ruler. Okay. Upon the earth, which would be the origines. Okay. And there was not a man to till the ground. Again, we can either be talking about somebody actually tilling the ground and working the fields, or we can be talking about somebody to break in or break through. Okay. To break through these tribes, to kind of come in as a decoy or as a somebody that is not actually your brother, and then start breaking up and dismantling the tribe by causing all kind of rift between the people. Or it could be somebody, like I said, that would be tilling the ground, okay, to getting rid of or breaking, chiseling away at the indigenous or the aborigines or the regular original people of those lands. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop right here. We have 3 more pages to go through. I don't want to make it too long, so I'm going to stop here, and then we're going to go ahead and come right back with a part 2.